Hello and welcome back to English Refine. If you've been tuning in for a while, you probably already know our philosophy here. We're not here to help you pass some written test where you just fill in the blanks with a pencil.
Right. That is definitely not the goal.
No, not at all. We are here to help you actually survive and thrive in the real world. We really want to take your English speaking skills from, textbook correct to naturally fluent.
And that is the dream, isn't it? To just stop translating in your head and finally let the words flow.
Exactly. I am your host, and I am thrilled to be guiding you through today's deep dive. And joining me, playing the role of the inquisitive, sometimes confused, but always eager learner, is my co-host.
Hello, everyone. I am definitely ready to be the guinea pig today. I'm here to ask the questions that, well, I know a lot of you listening are probably thinking, and to make the mistakes that we are all a little afraid to make.
Which is exactly how we learn.
Yeah, because we need to really dig into the why behind the language we use. Because let's be honest, English can be a very strange language sometimes.
It certainly can be. And today, we have a highly specific mission for this deep dive. We are tackling a topic that literally every single person on Earth experiences every single day.
Every day.
Yet, surprisingly, so many English learners, even really advanced ones, they completely struggle to describe it naturally. We are talking about the morning routine.
It sounds so simple on the surface, right? You think, I wake up, I eat, I go to work.
Like the textbook version.
Yeah. But when you actually try to describe the nuance, like the feeling of being tired or the specific kitchen appliances you use or that horrible rush to find your keys, you suddenly realize there are huge gaps in your vocabulary.
Precisely. Whether you are prepping for an IELTS speaking exam or just chatting with a colleague by the water cooler, or maybe you're just trying to explain your incredibly chaotic morning to a friend, the morning routine is the ultimate conversation starter.
It really is the default small talk.
It is. But to do it right, you need more than just those basic sentences. You need the sensory details. You need the phrasal verbs. So we have pulled together a massive stack of resources for this deep dive today. We're looking at conversations between native speakers, audio diaries, grammar breakdowns, and storytelling formats.
We really do have a huge stack of material to go through.
We do, and we are going to synthesize all of those different perspectives into one coherent journey. We're going to walk through the morning chronologically from the very second you open your eyes to the moment you lock the front door.
I am so ready for this. But before we dive into all that vocabulary, I have to ask, how was your morning?
See, asking how is your morning is literally the perfect way to start. It is the most common question in the office, honestly. My morning was a bit of a scramble today. I was definitely negotiating with the alarm clock. How about you?
I was feeling a bit sleepy, to be honest. I really needed a slow start. But I am here. I've had my coffee, which we are definitely going to talk about later, and I'm ready to learn.
That is the spirit. And you just used a great phrase there, a slow start. We're going to unpack all of that. Let's jump right into phase one of our deep dive, waking up.
The hardest part of the entire day.
For many of us, yes, without a doubt. Now let's look at the vocabulary around the alarm clock. In one of the audio sources we reviewed, we heard a conversation between two people, Kat and Mark, and they both admitted to something that I think is just a deeply universal human experience. They did not just jump out of bed with a smile.
No one does that.
Right. They hit a specific button instead.
The snooze button. They hit the snooze button.
Exactly. But notice the verb there. We don't usually say press the snooze button in casual conversation. Even though you technically could, it wouldn't be wrong. But we almost always say hit snooze.
Why hit? Is it because we are angry at the clock?
I honestly think so. Hit implies a sort of urgency. It implies a quick, perhaps slightly aggressive motion. You just want the noise to stop immediately. So if you say, I hit snooze 3 times this morning, it tells a story of absolute desperation.
I do that all the time, and then I instantly regret it because I end up being late. But, here is a common mistake I've made before, and I hear other learners make it too. I used to say, I opened the alarm.
Right, and that is a very classic translation error. In a lot of languages, you open and close electronics. But in English, you don't open the alarm unless you are taking it apart with a screwdriver to fix the batteries inside. The phrase is, the alarm goes off.
The alarm goes off. See, this is one of those phrasal verbs that makes absolutely no sense to a learner.
I know.
Usually off means stop. Like if I turn the light off, it is dark. But if the alarm goes off, it starts ringing. Why does off mean start?
It is extremely confusing. The best way to think of it is like a bomb. When a bomb explodes, we say the bomb went off. It is a sudden explosion of energy. An alarm going off is exactly the same concept. It is suddenly bursting into sound. So the alarm goes off, and then you have a choice. You either get up, or you turn it off, or you hit snooze.
So turn off means silence it. Go off means start ringing.
You've got it. The alarm went off at 7, so I turned it off.
Got it. Okay, now in that same audio clip, both speakers mentioned that after hitting snooze, they didn't actually get up immediately. They stayed in bed doing something else.
Yes. Scrolling on my phone, this is a massive part of modern morning vocabulary. 20 years ago, this phrase didn't even exist in morning routines. You might have said reading the paper or listening to the radio. Now it's standard. I laid in bed for a bit, scrolling through my phone.
It's such a bad habit, isn't it?
It really can be. But purely from a language perspective, it's a fantastic verb, scrolling. It perfectly implies that vertical movement of your thumb on the screen. It's very distinct from typing or calling someone. It implies passive consumption, just flicking your thumb.
Which actually brings like a really important distinction that was highlighted in one of our grammar-focused sources, the major difference between waking up and getting up.
Yes, this is crucial for our listeners. I cannot stress this enough. Wake up and get up are not synonyms. They are two completely different stages of the morning.
Can you break that down for us?
Of course. Wake up is the internal process. Your eyes open, your brain starts working, you are no longer asleep, you are conscious.
But you are still physically in bed.
Exactly. You are horizontal. Get up is the physical action. Your feet hit the floor, you physically leave the bed. You can wake up at 7 a.m. but not actually get up until 7:30.
I think I do that most days, to be honest. I wake up, I scroll, I stare at the ceiling, and then I finally get up.
You are definitely in good company there. In one of the storytelling sources we analyzed, two speakers, Sophie and Leo, talked about this exact limbo time between waking up and getting up. And Leo used a phrase that I absolutely loved. He said he lies there negotiating with life for 5 more minutes.
Negotiating with life. That is such a vivid, funny way to describe that feeling.
It really is. It perfectly captures that internal monologue. You know, if I get up right now, I can have a nice hot shower. But if I sleep for 5 more minutes, I'll have to skip breakfast.
You are actively making a deal with yourself. And Sophie mentioned she used to feel guilty about not just jumping out of bed, but now she realizes she actually needs that time just to feel human.
That phrase, feel human, is incredibly common in spoken English. I haven't had my coffee yet. I don't feel human. It just means you don't feel fully functional or polite or awake yet.
It completely connects to what we saw in another source we reviewed. The guest on that show talks about her morning routine, and she wakes up at 5 a.m., which is incredibly early, but she spends the first few minutes sitting quietly. She calls it pre-paving her day.
Pre-paving. That is a fascinating term. It's a metaphor. Do you know what paving is?
Like paving a road, putting down the asphalt.
Exactly that. She visualizes how she wants the day to go. She is mentally laying down the road before she actually drives on it. It is a form of mental preparation. So whether you are scrolling or negotiating or pre-paving, that time before you physically get up is a distinct, recognized part of the routine.
So just to recap that phase, we have the alarm goes off, we wake up, we maybe hit snooze, we scroll, and finally we get up.
Perfect summary. And now that we are actually out of bed, where do we go? Usually, it is straight to the bathroom. Which brings us to phase 2 of our deep dive, bathroom and hygiene.
Right, and one of the sources gave us a very clear, grammatically correct sequence for this. Wash face, brush teeth, shave.
Yes, and the emphasis there is on the grammar. I wash my face, I brush my teeth. It's simple, direct action verbs. But let's look at the sensory details, because if you just tell someone I wash my face, it is a bit boring. It doesn't sound like a real conversation. In one of the stories we looked at, a character named Leo talks about the water being cold and fresh.
Cold water. And in another source, the host actually talks a lot about this. He strongly prefers a cold shower.
He does. He says it wakes you up and fills you with energy. He describes it as invigorating.
Invigorating. That is a great vocabulary word. It means it gives you vigor or like a burst of energy.
Exactly, but then you have a different perspective from another speaker, Emily, who says she prefers warm water simply because it is more comfortable. This is a great conversation point for learners to practice. If you're talking to a coworker, you can ask, do you prefer a cold shock in the morning or warm comfort?
I am definitely on the warm water team. I need to ease into the day, not be shocked into it.
Ease into. Nice callback to the vocabulary we saw earlier. Now, speaking of that host who prefers cold showers, he went into a massive amount of detail about his dental routine. It was actually quite complex.
Oh, the flossing routine. Yes, this is advanced vocabulary gold right here.
Yeah.
He talks about dental floss, which is that little string you use between your teeth. But he has this whole system. He flosses the top teeth one day and the bottom teeth the next day.
And he turns the box upside down to remember which one he did. That is some serious dedication to dental hygiene. But the vocabulary word I really want to catch there is wiggle. He says you wiggle the floss between your teeth.
Wiggle. That's a really fun word to say. Wiggle.
It is. It implies short, quick, side-to-side movements. You wiggle a loose tooth, you wiggle your toes to warm them up, and you wiggle the floss. He also mentioned using an interdental stick.
That sounds like a very highly specific tool.
It is. It's a tiny little brush specifically for cleaning between the teeth. Now, these are the exact kinds of specific nouns that take your speaking from beginner level to intermediate or advanced. Instead of just saying, I clean my teeth, you say, I floss, and use an interdental stick. It paints a much clearer, more mature picture.
He also had a very strong opinion on soap. Bar soap versus shower gel.
Yes. This is a great cultural or even just personal preference debate to have in English. Bar soap is the solid block of soap. Shower gel is the liquid version that usually comes in a plastic bottle. He argues that bar soap makes him feel cleaner and is actually better for the environment because you aren't shipping all that extra water weight.
And he says you have to lather the soap.
Lather. That is the specific verb for making bubbles with soap. You lather up. You can't really lather water, but you lather soap or you lather shampoo in your hair.
He even mentioned deodorant versus antiperspirant. I honestly didn't realize there was a difference between those two words.
There is a subtle but important one. Deodorant literally deodors. It removes or masks the smell. Antiperspirant stops the perspiration. Perspiration is just a formal medical word for sweat. So one stops the smell, the other actually stops the wetness.
And he said he uses a roll-on deodorant.
Again, highly specific vocabulary. Roll-on refers to the little ball applicator at the top of the bottle. You have spray deodorant, you have stick deodorant, and you have roll-on.
Okay, I have a quick grammar question here. Sometimes I hear people say things like, I am brushing my teeth every day.
The continuous tense error. Our grammar source addresses this perfectly, and it is absolutely vital we correct it today. When we talk about routines, things we do every single day, or usually or often, we must use the simple present tense. I brush my teeth every day.
So why exactly is I am brushing wrong in that context?
Because I am brushing is the present continuous tense. It specifically implies you are doing the action right now at this exact second. Like, imagine I call you on the phone and you answer, but you sound all garbled. You might say, sorry, I am brushing my teeth right now. But when describing your general life habits, you just say, I brush.
I brush, I wash, I shave.
Right.
Got it. No inging endings for daily habits.
Exactly right. Keep it simple. Now, one last thing in the bedroom and bathroom phase before we head over to the kitchen. One of our storytelling sources mentioned a small but psychologically important task, making the bed.
Yes. Sophie mentioned that making the bed gives her a distinct feeling of control. Like, even if the rest of the day is totally chaotic and goes wrong, she accomplished at least one thing.
And another source we looked at also mentioned this exact same thing. One speaker makes the bed to feel organized, while the other openly admits to only doing it maybe 3 times a week. But I want you to look at the verb collocation there. We make the bed.
We don't build the bed. We don't clean the bed. We don't do the bed.
No. We make the bed. It means arranging the sheets and pillows neatly. It is a completely fixed phrase in English.
Okay, so we are washed. We are clean. Oh, wait, we aren't dressed yet. But let's go to the kitchen first. I really need coffee in this scenario.
Fair enough. Phase 3. Breakfast and the kitchen. This is where the descriptive language really gets delicious and varied.
One of the conversational sources used some fantastic phrasal verbs here. Kat said she whipped up some toast and scrambled eggs.
Whip up. I love that phrase so much. It implies cooking something very quickly and easily. I whipped up some eggs. You would never say I whipped up a 5-course gourmet Thanksgiving meal that took 6 hours. You only use it for things that are fast and require very little effort.
It sounds kind of magical, like whoosh, and the food is just suddenly there.
It does. It has a great energy to it. And for the coffee, she said she poured herself a fresh cup.
Pour. P-O-U-R. That is the action of the liquid actually moving from the pot into the cup.
The essential kitchen verb. But let's look at the coffee culture differences in our materials. Ariel, from one of the stories, is a bit of a coffee snob, and I say that with total love and respect.
He really is. He talks about his V60 filter in grinding beans.
Grinding beans. That means taking the hard, solid coffee beans and turning them into powder using a machine called a grinder. Compare that to what he had to use when he moved to China, which was instant coffee.
Which he did not sound very happy about.
No, he really wasn't. Instant coffee is the manufactured powder that just dissolves in hot water. It's incredibly quick, but serious coffee lovers often complain it lacks flavor. But in another story, Paul says he needs his green tea to start my brain.
Start my brain. That is a feeling I know incredibly well.
It's a metaphor, but it works so perfectly in conversation. It compares the human brain to an engine or a computer that needs booting up. Now let's talk about food vocabulary. In one of our vocabulary lists, they list the total classics: cereal, toast, scrambled eggs.
And they also mentioned peanut butter and banana slices, which sounds amazing.
A total classic combination. But here is a very common mistake interaction regarding breakfast. Speaker 2, let's do a quick role play. Ask me about my morning meal, but use a common area that I hear from students all the time.
Okay, let's see. Host, do you take breakfast?
And there it is. In English, we almost never say take breakfast. Our grammar source specifically points this out. We say I have breakfast or I eat breakfast.
But why not take? We take a shower, we take a bus, we take a break.
English is just funny that way. You take a shower, yes, but you have a meal. If you say I take breakfast, native speakers will completely understand you, no problem. But it sounds slightly unnatural. To a native ear, it almost sounds like you are physically picking up the breakfast plate and carrying it away to a secret location.
I am taking this toast hostage. It is coming with me right now.
Exactly, so just stick to have or eat. I had eggs, I ate toast. Now, one of the stories adds a really lovely sensory detail about the kitchen atmosphere itself. The story mentions that the kitchen smells like delicious coffee.
And that the family sits at a wooden table.
Wooden, the adjective meaning made of wood. Now, why even mention the material? Because it adds warmth to the description. It grounds the listener in the scene. It's not just some cold plastic table, it's a warm wooden table. These tiny details paint a much better picture when you're speaking.
Ariel also talked about a very specific breakfast he used to have. Muesli, chia seeds, milled flaxseed. It sounded intensely healthy.
Very healthy and very specific. Muesli is a type of oat-based cereal, usually eaten raw with nuts and fruit. Chia seeds and flaxseed are popular health foods. Being able to list your specific ingredients, like saying, I have yogurt with dragon fruit, as he mentions he does in China, shows a much higher level of fluency than just saying, I eat fruit.
Dragon fruit. He actually said they look crazy but taste just all right.
That was such a funny observation. He didn't say it was bad, but he didn't say it was amazing either. Just, all right. Honest, middle-of-the-road opinions make for much better conversation than just saying everything is good or bad.
Okay, so we have eaten. The brain is officially started. Now comes the chaos. Phase 4, getting ready and leaving. This is exactly where things usually go wrong in my morning.
First, we finally have to put clothes on. Our grammar guide gives us the basic phrases here. Put on clothes or get dressed.
Is there a functional difference between the two?
Yes, slightly. Get dressed is the general overall act of changing from your pajamas into your daytime clothes. I get dressed at 8 a.m. Put on usually requires a specific object to follow it. I put on my shirt. I put on my socks. You wouldn't normally just say I put on without saying exactly what you were putting on.
Got it. And then the absolute panic. The lost keys scenario that we heard about in this story.
Oh, this was a great, highly relatable story. Leo's family is completely ready to go. They're by the door, and suddenly, where are the keys? Emily calls them hide-and-seek keys.
Hide and seek, that's the children's game, right?
Yes, where one person hides and the other looks for them. Calling them hide-and-seek keys playfully implies that the keys are playing a game with you, like they are hiding on purpose just to annoy you. It personifies the object.
They looked near the yellow sofa, on the small shelf, but they were literally on the table the whole time.
Prepositions are the key here, no pun intended. Near the sofa, on the shelf, on the table. Getting those small prepositions right is what makes your location descriptions clear to whoever you're talking to.
That happens to me constantly. I'm always looking for my phone. Vocabulary-wise, one of the sources used a great verb for when you are rushing out. I grab my bag.
Grab. It's so much faster than take or pick up. It implies energy and haste. You don't gently and carefully pick up your bag when you are running 10 minutes late. You grab it. I grab my keys, grab my wallet, and head out the door.
Head out the door. That just means to leave the house.
Yes. To head out or to head to work. It's incredibly natural conversational English. Hey, I'm heading out now.
Speaking of heading to work, they also talked about the commute, saying things like, I take the bus or I walk.
And notice the preposition usage again there. You take the bus and you sit on the bus. You take the train and you are on the train, but you sit in a car. Or if you are like the speaker in our story, you might take out the rubbish on your way to the bus.
Oh, right, the bin bags. He had a whole complicated strategy about when the bins are actually open in his apartment complex.
Taking out the rubbish, which is British English, or taking out the trash in North American English, is a classic, unavoidable part of the morning routine for so many people. It's a chore, but it just has to be done.
Now, what about what people listen to while they travel? In one clip, they mentioned listening to podcasts, but we also have sources mentioning shows called Your Morning and Breakfast Briefing.
Right. Tons of people consume media as part of their routine. Your Morning is actually a Canadian breakfast television program that was mentioned in our source stack. People might naturally say, I watch the morning news, or I just have the news on in the background while I get dressed.
And Breakfast Briefing is a podcast from Ireland, I believe.
Yes, Newstalk's breakfast briefing. It's designed for people who just want a really quick update on the world. So you might tell a coworker, I listened to a news briefing on my commute.
It seems like multitasking is the real theme here.
Yeah.
Listening while commuting, watching while eating.
Absolutely. Now, before we move on to our learning recap, I want to touch on the overall feeling of the morning one more time. One of the stories had some really beautiful phrases for when you aren't rushing. Sophie talks about easing into the day.
Ease into the day. That's not so gentle, like carefully stepping into a hot bath.
Exactly. Now, contrast that peaceful feeling with the phrase running on autopilot.
Autopilot,
It-
like an airplane.
Yes, precisely. When a plane is flying itself without the pilot's hands on the controls, it is on autopilot. When you are doing your morning tasks without even thinking about them, usually because you are super tired or it's just a deep habit, you are running on autopilot. I drove all the way to work, but I honestly don't remember the drive. I was just running on autopilot. It's a fantastic idiom.
Okay, we have covered a really huge journey here, from the alarm going off to finally heading out the door. We've looked at grammar, idioms, and some great sensory details.
We have. And now it is time to solidify this knowledge. We are moving into the learning section of our deep dive. I'm going to give you a list of the key phrases we just discussed. I want you, the listener at home, to mentally check if you remember what they mean before my co-host answers.
Let's do it. Put me to the test.
Phrase number 1, hit the snooze button.
That means pressing the button on your clock to delay the alarm so you can sleep just a little bit more. And it usually implies a bit of desperation.
Perfect. Phrase number 2, whip up breakfast.
To cook breakfast very quickly and easily, almost like magic.
Phrase number 3, ease into the day.
To start your day slowly and calmly without rushing around in a panic.
Phrase number 4, running on autopilot.
Doing things automatically without actively thinking about them, usually because of a strict routine or just being really tired.
Phrase number 5, head out the door.
To physically leave the house to go somewhere, like work or school.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Now let's do some targeted pronunciation practice. There are 3 words from today's discussion that can be really tricky for learners. I'll say them. I want you to repeat them, speaker 2. And listeners, I want you to repeat them out loud at home. First word, schedule.
Schedule.
Good. In American English, we pronounce it schedule. It has a hard K sound right at the beginning. Stead. Now, in British English, you might hear schedule. Both are completely correct, but pick one and stick to it so you sound consistent. Since we are leaning a bit more American today, schedule.
Schedule.
Next word, comfortable.
Comfortable.
Careful here. If you look at the spelling, it looks like comfortable with 4 distinct syllables. But in natural, fast speech, we almost always squash it together. Comfortable. Just 3 syllables, sometimes even comfortable.
Comfortable.
Perfect. Much more natural. And the last one, routine.
Routine.
Make sure that second syllable is long and heavily stressed. Routine, not R-O-tine. Excellent work. Now, let's quickly review those 2 major common mistakes one more time. These are the ones I want you to completely banish from your English starting today. Mistake 1, I open the alarm. What's the correction?
The correction is the alarm goes off or I turn off the alarm. Never open.
Spot on. Mistake 2, I am brushing my teeth every day.
The correction is I brush my teeth every day. We have to use the simple present tense for daily habits.
Yes. And mistake 3, I take breakfast.
The correction is I have breakfast or I eat breakfast.
Exactly.
I feel like I've been saying take breakfast for years, honestly.
Yeah.
I am going to stop today. I have breakfast.
That is exactly the goal of this show. Now, we are going to do a quick repeat after me practice. I will say a full sentence, then I will leave a short pause. I want you, the listener, to say it out loud, exactly as I said it. Try to copy my intonation and my speed. Ready?
Ready.
I usually hit snooze twice before I get up.
I usually hit snooze twice before I get up.
Good. Now pause for the listener. Next one. I grab my coffee and head to work.
I grab my coffee and head to work.
The alarm goes off at 7 a.m. sharp.
The alarm goes off at 7 a.m. sharp.
I really need a slow start to the day.
I really need a slow start to the day.
Awesome.
That actually felt really good. Saying it out loud completely helps lock it in.
It really does. It builds muscle memory in your mouth. You have to
Yeah.
train the muscles to make these new sounds in this specific order. Now, as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a final, slightly deeper thought from one of our storytelling sources. Sophie said something very profound about this whole topic. She said, "A morning routine doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be honest."
I absolutely love that. You don't have to try and impress people by saying I wake up at 4 a.m. and run 10 kilometers. If you actually just wake up and scroll on your phone for 20 minutes.
Right. Being able to describe your actual real life in English is the ultimate goal. That is where true fluency lies, connecting your real lived experience to the vocabulary.
Because every morning is a new start.
Exactly. Every single morning is a brand new opportunity to practice your English. So, here is our call to action for you. Tomorrow morning, when you wake up, I want you to narrate your routine to yourself in English.
Literally say it out loud. As you do it, the alarm is going off. I am brushing my teeth. I am making coffee.
And it might feel a little silly at first, but it genuinely works. It forces your brain to connect the physical action directly to the English word, bypassing your native language entirely. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into morning English, please hit that subscribe button for English Refine. We have so many more practical topics to cover together.
We certainly do. I'm already looking forward to the next one.
Thank you so much for listening. Have a wonderful morning, a productive afternoon, or a highly relaxing evening wherever you are in the lead right now.
Goodbye, everyone. Keep practicing.